Divya Bahal, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. The subject that we are going to continue is Mass Transfer Operations 2. So with this lecture, we will start a new chapter, that is your adsorption and ion exchange, right? So first of all, what is adsorption? Okay, so it is a mass transfer operation, right, in which your solute from the gas or liquid phase, okay, that transfers to the surface of another solid, okay, just on the surface of another solid, it is sticking to it, right? Now, the solute which is held on this surface, okay, it is held by what? It is held by intermolecular force of attraction, okay. Attraction exists between the solute molecules and the molecules of your solid surface on which it is sticking, right? So here you can see in the image, okay, adsorbate and adsorption process is shown, right? So first of all, this technical terms, what is adsorbate? The solid on whose surface adsorption occurs, that is your adsorbent, okay. Adsorbent means the extra another solid which you are taking so as to stick solute molecules from the gas or liquid mixture, right, on which the adsorption occurs, that is your adsorbent. Now, what is adsorbate? The solute which adheres means sticks on the surface of this adsorbent, that is your adsorbate. Okay, for example, you are keeping your silica gel open into a moist environment. So here solute is what? Your solute is water vapor, okay, present in what? Present in your gas, right? So the moisture that will stick to silica gel. Here silica gel is what? It is your adsorbent here. Whereas your water molecules, okay, water vapor molecules, that are your adsorbate. So this is the process of your adsorption. Now have a brief difference between, look at the difference between absorption and adsorption. Absorption, AB1, okay. It is a volumetric process, okay. The molecules, okay, the molecules of your liquid or gas, it seeps within the pores of your solid surface and covers the whole volume of your given solid. So in absorption you can see that evenly, okay, within the body of it evenly your solute is distributed. Whereas your adsorption, it is a surface phenomena, okay. The sticking, the limit of your solute molecules, okay, that is only up to the surface. It is not penetrating within the pores of your solid, right? So this is your adsorption and absorption. Now what are the industrial applications of your adsorption, okay, as this is what another kind of mass transfer operation. So first of all, it is used for removal of toxic gases, decolorization of gases, waste removal from air, right? Now dehumidification of air, right now just I gave you example of silica gel, right? So that is what dehumidification of air, removal of water vapor from gas, okay. See, water vapor gets removed from air and stick to the adsorbent, okay. So it is also used for recovery of valuable solvents also. Now separation of solute from solution, okay, like decolorization of sugar, vegetable oil and petroleum products, removal of waste from wastewater, okay, for these are the certain purposes. Then clarification of certain beverages. Then separation of light hydrocarbons like methane, ethane, methylene from aromatics and paraffinics, okay, that is the application. Then removal of ions from solution. The method is what? Demineralization by the method of ion exchange. So these are the certain applications of your adsorption. Now the best kind of your adsorbent used is your activated charcoal, okay. It is used to take out certain solute from the gaseous mixture, okay. It is generally used for removal of solute from your gas media. So you can see what is the adsorption, okay, a layer of your gas molecule is sticking over the activated charcoal. And what is the force which exists between these gas molecules and the adsorbent, okay, that is your intermolecular force of attraction. Now what is the nature of adsorbents? Okay, adsorbents is what again? The solid on which your solute, okay, solute will stick to it. So that solid is your adsorbent. So first of all, large surface area per unit mass is desired. Okay, because this is surface phenomena, you need to have very high surface area. So how do we increase the surface area? By breaking it into very small particles, okay. Suppose I am taking 1 kg of my adsorbent. So for that 1 kg, I need to have maximum surface area. That can be achieved by crushing it into very small fine particles. Okay. Then it should be specific towards the adsorbate. Now if you're using an adsorbent, you need to, suppose for example, you need to take out moisture from the air. Then what you have to use, you have to use silica gel, because silica gel is specific towards water molecules, right? It should be highly porous. Highly porous because again here don't confuse it with absorption. Okay, highly porous means more the porous surface, it means it will provide you more surface area for adsorption, right? Then it should be free flowing and it should be easy to handle. Okay, that is the common nature it have. Now if you are using a fixed bed adsorber, okay, then they should offer low pressure drop. Okay, because in fixed, how the adsorber column work, okay, your gas you are sending it from the bottom suppose, and you're sending your adsorber is fixed in the bed. Okay, so to gas to travel from bottom to top, a pressure drop must be there. If it is giving you very low pressure drop, okay, then it is viable. Okay, if it is giving very high pressure drop, it means then at the bottom your gas is accumulating, right? So it should offer low pressure drop. Hence, then and only then your gas will be able to move from bottom to top easily. It should have adequate strength and hardness. So these are the certain nature of your adsorbents. Now what are the industrial examples of adsorbents? Okay, first of all, Fuller's earth. What is it? It is magnesium aluminum silicate, which is how it is prepared by heating and drying. This will result into development of porous structure. Now where it is used mainly for decolorization and neutralizing and drying, right? Then activated clay. What is it? That is your bentonite treated with sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. Then bone char. The bone char, it is produced from what? Bones when it is subjected to destructive distillation at 600 to 900 degrees Celsius. It is mainly used for refining in sugar. Okay, your sugar is made from what? It's made from sugarcane juices. So brown color is there in the starting. So we have to purify it to what? White color. So that for that refining of sugar, we are using what? Bone char. Gas adsorbent carbon. It is produced by carbonization of coconut shells, coals, etc. Then next is your silica gel, okay, which is mainly used for dehydration of air, and it is used in the gas mask, right? The pollution mask which is there, you generally use silica gel in it. So how it is prepared? It is a gel precipitated by acid treatment of sodium silicate solution. So in your sodium silicate solution, if you are treating it with acid, it converts into your silica gel. Then molecular sieves. What are those? Those are the porous synthetic zeolite crystals. So these are the certain adsorbents which are used. Now adsorption also has a different types, right? So the two main types here are physical and chemical adsorption. So what is physical adsorption? You can see in the picture, it is also called as physiosorption, right? Your solute, okay, it sticks to the surface by the virtue of van der Waals force of attraction. Okay, it is held on the surface of adsorbent because of van der Waals force of attraction. Okay, now this type of adsorption, it can occur in multi-layer. Means one surface is covered with your solute, then on that surface again your solute will accumulate. Okay, a layer will be forming. Now what is chemical adsorption? Now here, instead of van der Waals force of attraction, a real bond, that is covalent bonds are formed. Okay, so on the binding sites, what is binding site? The active sites which are present on the adsorbent. Okay, more the active sites, more the solute will be forming covalent bond. Okay, now here only single layer will be there, because once active sites had been covered with your solute molecules, right, then further it cannot form a layer, because no more binding site or active site is present to form covalent bond, right? Now, certain difference between the physical and chemical adsorption. So first of all, physical adsorption, it is held by what? Weak van der Waals force of attraction. Okay, weak van der Waals force is responsible. Whereas in chemical adsorption, the bond is what? Chemical bond is forming. Between what? Between your adsorbent and your solute, that is adsorbate. Then it is favored at low temperature. Your chemical adsorption, because it is a chemical reaction, right? So hence it is favored at high temperature. Then in physical adsorption, activation energy is not required. Whereas in chemical adsorption, again, what is it? It is a formation of a chemical bond. So activation energy would be there, okay? Once that threshold has been overcome, then and only then your bond will be formed. So activation energy is required. Physical adsorption can be reversible, okay? As suppose here it is shown that it is favored at low temperature. Okay, if you increase the if you increase the temperature, then you can follow the reversible path, that is desorption. Whereas with chemical adsorption, it is irreversible. Now, low enthalpy of adsorption is there, whereas in chemical adsorption, high enthalpy of adsorption is there. Physical adsorption, it can be non-specific, okay? If your adsorbent has the tendency to absorb a given adsorbate, then this process will occur. Whereas in chemical adsorption, a formation of what is happening, chemical bond, a kind of chemical reaction is there. So only with certain adsorbent and solute molecules only this reaction will occur, right? Multi-layer is possible on the adsorbent surface for physical adsorption, whereas for chemisorption only monolayer is there. So these are the certain points about the difference between physical and chemical adsorption. Now moving forward to adsorption equilibria or hysteresis, right? So first of all, what is adsorption? It is sticking of your adsorbate on your adsorbent surface. What is desorption? It is reverse of adsorption, okay? Your solute molecules which are sticking on your adsorbent surface, that will get out from the surface, okay? Okay, removal of solute molecules from your adsorbent surface, that is your desorption. So adsorption and desorption, it occurs simultaneously because it is reversible reaction. It is a reversible process, right? Now, when you are using your fresh adsorbent, okay? When you are using a fresh adsorbent, then the rate of adsorption is more. Why? Because large amount of surface area is available for adsorption to occur, okay? Hence, rate of adsorption is more than rate of desorption. Now, so what would be happening in adsorption equilibria? That when these rates will be equal, then that is your adsorption equilibria. That is, rate of adsorption is equal to rate of desorption, then that is your adsorption equilibria, okay? Solute is sticking to the surface of adsorbent and some amount of solute is also removing from the surface. When both of these rates become equal, then that is your adsorption equilibria. Now, at constant temperature, amount absorbed per unit mass of adsorbent, it depends on the partial pressure of adsorbent in the gas phase, okay, or on the concentration in case of adsorption from a solution. So it depends on what? Partial pressure. Now, the equilibrium relation between amount adsorbed, okay, suppose I am giving the amount adsorbed on your surface, I am giving it as notation Q, and the concentration C of adsorbate or solute at a constant temperature T, then your adsorption isotherm is the equilibrium relationship between these two, okay. Total C is, what is my C? The total amount of adsorbate which is there. And what is Q? From the total amount, how much is adsorbing on your surface of adsorbent, okay. So the relationship between these two is known as your adsorption isotherm. Now, what is adsorption isotherm, okay. The equilibrium data for adsorption is presented in form of an adsorption isotherm. When equilibrium is achieved, okay, that representation of equilibrium is your adsorption isotherm. So what is adsorption isotherm? It is an equilibrium relationship between concentration of adsorbate, okay, concentration of solid molecules that is held on surface of adsorbent and concentration or partial pressure of adsorbate in fluid at a given temperature, that is your adsorption isotherm. Amount which is adsorbed and amount which already exists at the temperature, okay. So the three of the important kind of isotherms are Freundlich isotherm, Langmuir and DET. Right, so these are the three important types of your isotherms. Now, adsorption isotherms are used to describe the quantity of adsorbate on the surface as the function of its pressure at constant temperature. Okay, so here you can see that. Now, these are some of the 5 types of isotherms which are shown. Okay, the first one is your most followed isotherm. Now see, for different adsorbate and adsorbent pairs, okay, at different pressure and temperature condition, all this system, adsorbate and adsorbent system, will exhibit different kind of behavior. So from the 5 figures you can see that. Suppose the type 1, it is what example of oxygen adsorption on carbon black. Okay, so this is a very favorable kind of thing. It shows that your adsorption is a favorable process to happen here. Now the type 2 is your BET type, isotherm. Okay, it is example of what? Absorption of water vapor on carbon black. Okay, for that specific water vapor and carbon black, it is following this type of equilibrium relationship, and that type of curve 2 type comes under the category of what? BET type. Now the type 3, okay, it is absorption of N2 on ice, that is unfavorable. So you can see that with various graphs you get an idea which kind of absorption is favorable and not. So absorption of N2 and N2 nitrogen on ice, that is an unfavorable. So generally we do not carry out that kind of absorption. Okay. Now the type 4 and type 5, altering convex and concave, that shows you capillary. Okay. If your 4 and 5th is the kind of graph which you are obtaining, then from that graph you can judge that a capillary movement is there. Okay, capillary between the pores is happening. Okay, so this way your adsorption isotherm, it gives you idea about your adsorption process, right? Different types of isotherms are obtained for different adsorbate-adsorbent pair, right? So these are, from this way you can judge what is your process happening actually, right? Now, Freundlich adsorption isotherm, the type 1, okay? The type 1 here which is shown, that is your Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Most of your gas solute and adsorbent, okay, that follow your Freundlich isotherm. So here, variation in the quantity of gas adsorbed by a unit mass of solid adsorbent with change in pressure of the system for a given temperature, okay, that is shown by your Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So you can see that the mathematical equation, okay, x by m is equal to kp raised to 1 by n. This is the mathematical equation, mathematical form which is followed by your adsorbate and adsorbent. In which phase? For gas phase, right? Where x is what? It is mass of the gas adsorbed, mass of gas which you are taking out, okay, the solute. Mass of the gas adsorbed. M is what? That is the mass you are using to carry out adsorption. Adsorbent. It is mass of adsorbent. P is the pressure of the system and N is a constant which depends on nature of adsorbent. Okay, like nature of adsorbent, like what is the porosity, capillary, okay, that much in deep you don't have to study. So that is the characteristic of your adsorbent on which your N value depends. So now taking the logarithm on both sides, you get the following relation. So graphically you can see that. Okay, for n less than 1, your Freundlich isotherm, which is the favorable one, for n less than 1, you get your this curve. Okay, for x by m versus pressure. Now see, at PS, that is your saturation pressure, that shows that the condition of equilibrium has been achieved. Okay, here you can see that after attaining a pressure PS, saturation pressure, okay, variation in amount of adsorbent, okay, adhering to the adsorbent becomes 0. Now no more further adsorption process can occur. This happens because the surface area available for adsorption is limited, right, and all sites are occupied. So further increase in pressure drop do not cause any difference. So once, it means it shows an equilibrium condition has been achieved. Now no more further adsorption can occur. So you can see that when you are plotting a logarithm versus log of xm versus log of p curve, you get your straight line. Slope is what? 1 by n. So what does it show? This Freundlich adsorption isotherm, what is the significance? Okay, it is showing that how your gas and adsorbent it behaves. Okay, how the process is happening. So mathematically this is the model which fits your gas and adsorbent system, right? So now what is the effect of temperature on adsorption? Your adsorption, what is it? It is an exothermic process. Okay, so hence rise in temperature, it decreases the magnitude of adsorption for physical adsorption. In CRE you might have studied, okay, for exothermic process, what do? We decrease the temperature. So for exothermic process, your main motive is to decrease the temperature. If you're rising the temperature, then your adsorption will decrease. But same is not for the chemical adsorption. Here you can see the difference between both the process. In chemical adsorption, your adsorption process, it increases with temperature up to a maximize attain, okay, and then it decreases. So this is the effect of your temperature on adsorption.